Good afternoon. Good afternoon. EVC, welcome in. Welcome in today. There we go. Martin McLow. Martin, welcome in. Alright, well, we've got some news here today. Let's get started. Of course, there is the overlying news of today, which is the quite impressive news. 55 tanks has been destroyed today alone. That is a equivalent of, well, something we haven't seen before. It literally, Witchy, welcome in. It means that 5,000 tanks in total, above that number, has been destroyed, and 7,000 APVs, something a lot, artillery systems, a lot of things. Everything's destroyed. The Russians are not doing so great. Putin had to puke this morning. Lavrov came in. He said, Mr. Putin, I have not so good news on Battlefront. Yes, what is it, Lavrov? Did we lose a tank? Oh, well, yes, we lost a tank. And a little bit more. But we will get to that. Of course, we'll get to that. First of all, let's start off with some news from Croatia. Well, not directly from Croatia. It's Ukrainian news, however. Croatia has announced it has transferred all of its Mi-8 helicopters to Ukraine. It means that Croatia sent 14 such helicopters to the Ukrainian army. They only had 14. However, I think, despite the factor that 14 helicopters isn't a lot, I think it's a symbol. I think the factor that Croatia is willing to send everything of its helicopters to Ukraine is a symbol of solidarity, and it's a symbol of respect. So I want to give that to John. Welcome in. We're going to give that to Croatia. Thank you so much, Croatia. The 59th Brigade, we've got a lot of videos today as well of Russians blowing up. Well, not directly, we can't see that on YouTube, of course, but we've got a lot of videos of Russians. The Russians, the reason why, of course, this mass attack of 55 tanks into one day, the Andavika direction where the Russians tried to put their advance on, well, it didn't go so great. So, yesterday, Russians tried to use one of their TOS 1A against Ukrainian forces in Andavika, but a drone located them. Unfortunately for the Russian crew, the flamethrower was fully loaded with missiles. The falling explosion turned the vehicle into a tiny bits. You ready? It's a big explosion. Oh, what the fuck? Sometimes Twitter is a bit weird. There we go. Here you have it. Look at this. There it comes up. It's a flamethrower, but it's got that. Got those. It's got rockets in it, as far as I know of. I've heard of. Yeah. Oh. Oh shit! Have you seen that? That was Russians right there. If you thought they survived, you'd be wrong. Look at that. Bada boom! Holy shit! That is such a fucking huge explosion. What the fuck? And the guy in the background does like, nope. He just keeps throwing. He's like, oh shit, nope. Oh, he's gonna go check on it. He's like, am I gonna go? Nah. He's kind of deciding. La da da. That is a fucking massive explosion for you right there. Holy shit. Have you ever seen the likes? Have you ever seen the likes? Oh shit. Nope. Just want to check my stream's doing alright. Liberator Soul. They did. More than 200 units of enemy equipment damaged and destroyed in a day total. Occupants losses in the Tauride sector in manpower amount to 1,051. It's actually higher than that. The total land loss today is about 1,300 soldiers for the Russian side. Combat actions are ongoing. Commander of Tarviva Joint Forces Operation Olinska Tranivka. That was from. It was reported by the commander of Tarviva Joint Forces Operations Olinsky Tranivka, Ukraine. Sorry, a lot of names. Here you have it. So this is in the Andivika direction, where the Russians they didn't have such a good day. There they are. They're not dead. They're just lying in the fields, trying to actually make themselves. It's not the stream. Don't worry, it's the video. It's a bit laggy. But actually, we're actually gonna see the video where they actually make this path. So there's a video, we have it, and I'm gonna show it to you, where they actually drive up, make this path right here. Now the funny thing is, they were gonna go, make a path, and go that way, right, go across. But if you notice, they make a path, and then, oh shit, realized, because this right here, right over here, there was a bunch of Ukrainians. It was a Ukrainian ambush. So they realized they literally turned around, the whole convoy turned around and just went back. That's why it looks like this. This was made today. A bunch of tanks drove over it. It was such a bad day for the Russians. It really was. Oh my god. It's lovely. It's lovely. Yeah, another bad day for the occupiers. Look at it. Even after several days of constant failure, Russia continues to mindlessly push against the fortress Andivika. The burned out predecessor waves a... The burnt out predecessor waves of Russian armed vehicles are literally clogging the pathway that following vehicles have to push their way through, only to get rid of themselves. So the actual problem for the Russians right now, have you ever heard of a problem in war, right? There's logistical problems, but the problem for the Russians isn't the factor that they don't have the vehicles, it's the fact that they can't get there. Well, they don't have vehicles in the first place, no. But the factor is they can't get there. Why? Because there's so many vehicles and burned out vehicles and destroyed vehicles in their way that they have to push through themselves. The Ukrainians have actually said, we've actually had a bit of trouble getting our heavy equipment through. And they asked the Ukrainians, why are you having trouble? Well, there's so many dead Russians and vehicles in the way, we can't get through. It's just... Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. I think is that the video? No, it might be the other one, but that one. No, that. There you have it. That's the Russians right there. Russian tank destroyed. Look at that in the back there. Oh, that's the look at that. Here you have it. This is the Russians. This is the second best army in the world. Oh, how are you doing, guys? Oh, sorry, bumped into you, buddy. Sorry about that. It may be out. It may be out of service. That's why he's bumped. Oh no, and there he goes. Yep, there he goes. He gets exploded himself. No longer pushing that up. That's a tank right there. You got yourself ready to fire. Doing nothing to help them out. We got the convoy coming up. Oh, and that one got destroyed as well. That one got destroyed as well. Oh, and that one got destroyed as well. That one's burning. Oh, unfortunate for you. Oh, unfortunate for you. I mean, maybe one more. Come on. Nah. It's a great day. It's a great day. It's a great day to be alive. The Russians are getting hammered. Another bad day for the occupiers near Andivika. Is it a bad day for the Russians? I hadn't noticed. Had you noticed? I hadn't noticed. Nah. Doing nothing to help the hill. Okay, so it's a bit of a it's pretty much the same video. Yeah, we're not gonna watch it. It appears that the attack and strikes on Berdansk. So even more news, guys. So you're gonna love this. It appears that the ATACMS strikes on Berdyansk and Luhansk airports were much more successful than initially thought. Around 20 Russian helicopters were damaged or completely destroyed. Numerous holes in the fuselage of the Russian K-52 helicopters, which was hit by cluster attacks, ATACMS at the Berdyansk airfield. So this is not only are they now reporting that the we were talking about that earlier. 2 days ago, there was a attack by those ATACMS clusters, and they hit the airfield. Now this is the aftermath of that. This is that you got the helicopter right there for you. It has holes in it, so I don't know if you can see something wrong with this thing right here, but usually they're not supposed to have holes in them. But they said there's a hole in the fuselage, holes in the, of course you can see there in the window. Yeah. So they're not supposed to look like that. They're supposed to not have holes in them, but that one doesn't have. That one appears to have holes in it. But that's not even the. Here it is, guys. Here's the official, right? So this is from the Kyiv Independent. 1,380 troops, almost nearing 300,000. 120 APVs, which is almost nearing 10,000 APVs. 33 vehicles and fuel tanks, that's also nearing 10,000. 5,000 tanks in total there. 55 plus tanks in one day. 29 artillery systems. That has just reached 7,000 artillery systems has been destroyed in Ukraine by the Ukrainians. 8 UAVs, 4 MLRS, and 1 cruise missile. It may be reported later or tomorrow that there has been some developments in the area around planes and helicopters, but we're still looking into that. Yeah, it's about some sources are claiming that there may have been additional damage to what we previously thought was the true number of damaged, because apparently the Russians didn't have time to investigate the damage thoroughly, because they thought, they looked at them, they were like, oh, maybe they're all right, but if previously, not have probably investigated the area and realized that apparently it's more than just those 8 or 9. The UK intelligence are reporting 9. The Kyiv Independent had six helicopters. The UK intelligence, which is their official Twitter, came out with intelligence today, and I have it, stated that it was 9. So I'm guessing somewhere between 8 and 10. 20 may be a lot, but, as of right now, it's a little bit unclear, but it could be 20. The factor is, obviously, not all of those 20s are completely destroyed and can be repaired. However, they are out of service in the meanwhile. So yeah, that's Putin's probably not. That's Putin right there. He woke up this morning. He was like, he looked at the news. He was like, oh my god, Lavrov, what the fuck did you do? Lavrov, I see all my planes and my helicopters are gone. What have you done? You fucking idiot. The democratic world realizes the importance of Ukraine's resilience in safeguarding freedom for all nations, both in Europe and beyond. We have the ability to defeat any threat if we work together. It's good. Well, let's get the update from the man, the myth, the legend. Let's get the update here from this guy right here. Let's, what do you say? Let's get the update.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці і українки. Сьогодні разом з командою на Херсонщині, в Миколаєві. Багато завдань. Нарада з військовими, головком Залужний, керівник Генштабу Шаптала, командувач ОСУ Одеса Гнатов та командувач морської піхоти Содель, керівник Держприкордонної служби генерал Дейнеков. Особливий формат, вузьке коло щодо ситуації в Херсоні та області, загалом на півдні, а також на Донеччині, передусім Авдіївка. Я дякую всім нашим хлопцям, які потужно тримають оборону і день за днем знищують окупанта. Цими днями російські втрати дійсно вражають, і саме такі втрати окупанта потрібні Україні. Обговорили також Куп'янський напрямок на Харківщині, провів нараду у Миколаєві керівники області, міста, військові, правоохоронці щодо захисту регіону, нашої інфраструктури, наших портів, коридорів у Чорному морі. Проаналізували і соціальні питання, які важливі для Миколаєва та міст і сіл області, енергетика, забезпечення теплом, водопостачання у Миколаїв та область, якість води, яка дається місту, соціальна підтримка людей, економічна робота. Все те, що дійсно потребує уваги на всіх рівнях влади. Особливо я вдячний Данії за дієву підтримку Миколаєва, за щиру допомогу місту, саме так, як ми домовляли з пані прем'єр-міністеркою Фредеріксен. Відвідав наших воїнів в шпиталі Миколаєва, які проходять лікування після бойових поранень, подякував їм за силу та подякував лікарям за відданість своїй справі. Важлива доповідь обласного керівника СБУ щодо захисту Миколаєва та області від диверсійної активності Росії та колаборантів. Я вдячний за вашу роботу, хлопці. Окрема увага захисту неба від російських бомб і ракет. Працюємо, щоб посилити ППО. Дякую усім в світі, хто допомагає. Зокрема, говорив з Олафом Шольцем і щодо ППО. Разом працюємо, щоб патріоти в руках українських воїнів могли робити більше вже цієї зими. Запросив Німеччину взяти участь в зустрічі радників щодо формули миру, яку готуємо наприкінці жовтня. Обговорили з канцлером і ситуацію на Близькому Сході. Я дякую Олафу, що наші домовленості чітко виконуються. Дуже вагома навіть історична промова була у президента Байдена. Вчора ми з ним говорили, хороша розмова, і тепер є його звернення, сильне, вчасне, таке, що дійсно додає впевненості. І дякую за незмінність підтримки України. Демократичний світ розуміє, наскільки важлива стійкість України для свободи усіх вільних народів і не лише в Європі. Можемо подолати всі загрози. Надихає і промова президентки Єврокомісії Урсули фон дер Ляєн. Напередодні вдячний пані президенці за чіткий заклик прискорити шлях України до перемоги і до усіх в Європі, у вільному світі, бути єдиними максимально стільки, скільки потрібно для перемоги над терористами, які прагнуть знищити наші держави, наше життя. Європа має перемогти, а не ті, хто намагається перетворити наше життя на руїни. І ще одне. Сьогодні 20 років розвідці прикордонної служби України. Героїчні воїни мав честь сьогодні привітати їх, відзначити державними нагородами. Провів окрему нараду з прикордонниками щодо тих завдань, які вони виконують ефективно. І я гордий тим, що прикордонна служба України, її підрозділи стають тільки сильніші. Слава усім вам, воїни! Слава нашому міцному народу! Дякую вам, Херсон, Миколаїв, за сьогоднішній день. Слава Україні!
Slava to Ukraine. The man, the myth, the legend has spoken to you. Vaughn, welcome in. Okay, what we got? Oh yeah, so if you thought the news hadn't gotten worse for the Russians, are you fucking stupid? Because no, the news gets worse. Doing takeoff from the Hasir airfield at Dushanbe, Russian Elysian 76 engine caught fire. The plane burned down. The crew is alive. However, a Russian Elysian 76 military plane from the Russian army also ceased to be able to fly anymore as the engine caught fire and landed in a field. So does the news get any worse for the Russians? It probably does. Yeah, there you go. It just gets worse and worse and worse. It has probably been, the last 24 hours, literally the worst time for any Russian government head right now or army. The worst time for the Russian army in a very, very long time. Well, let's be honest. Pretty much every day in Russia is bad. But, but it's been a bad day today. I'll tell you what. That'd give me a headache if I was Putin right now. I'd have a massive headache. Well, let's get the latest defense intelligence update on the situation in Ukraine. On October 17, 2023, several Russian helicopters and air defense equipment were likely struck at Berdyansk and Luhansk airfield. Although the extent of the damage is currently unconfirmed, it's likely 9 Russian military helicopters. So that's what I was saying before. The UK intelligence are seeing 9. Some are saying 10. Some are saying 20. I'm betting somewhere between 8 and 10. But however, the UK Defense Intelligence also says that although the extent of the damage is currently unconfirmed, so they don't actually know. Yeah. And 5 at Luhansk were destroyed. So it's likely, so they're saying it's likely 9 Russian military helicopters at Berdyansk and 5. So again, so if they're saying 5 at Luhansk, that's, adding to that 8, 9, and 8, 10. We could be nearing the 15. So some are saying 20. So 15 to 20, in between that. Maybe. I can't confirm. All I really can confirm is that there's a lot of helicopters that can't fly anymore. With Ukraine claiming to have used the US-provided long-range tactical missiles, the ATACMS, for the first time. So Ukraine had the ATACMS for one day and destroyed about 15 Russian helicopters. Yeah, you call the Ukrainian army efficient. I call them God-level efficient. Given that the Russian fixed-wing close air support to date has been extremely poor, Russian defensive line has also become increasingly reliant on rotary wing support in the face of the Ukrainian offensive. Berdyansk was being used as a primary forward operating base on the southern axis, providing both logistic and offensive defensive capabilities. If confirmed, it's highly likely that these losses will have an impact on Russian ability both to defend and conduct further offensive activity on this axis. Given the current strain on Russian military production, the confirmed losses of any airframes will be difficult to replace in a short term to medium term. Yeah. This loss will also likely create additional pressure on Russian pilots and airframes, already almost certainly suffering combat exhaustion and maintenance issues due to the unanticipated protracted campaign. There is a realistic possibility that this strike will compel Russia to once again relocate its operating bases and command and control nodes farther from the front lines, increasing the burden on logistic chains. So sorry, maybe a little bit bad reading here. So overlying problem here is for the Russians, they now have to move most of their air equipment and the air elements that they're using in Ukraine to protect their troops on the ground. Well, the protection that they are giving them, which is very minimal. They're not going to move those to further inside Russia where Ukrainians can't get them, which means that the Russians could be seeing a new time where they will have pretty much, before the minimal amount of air defenses was a thing, but now they'll likely have what is equivalent to 0 air defense in some areas at least. Giving the Russians, if you thought the advances and Adivika, the advances of the Russians was bad today, without the air defense that they are getting, it's going to be even fucking worse. So, what I'm saying to you is that when Ukraine gets F-16s, this war's going to go real fast. Russia has terminated the cross-border cooperation agreement with Finland. Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin has signed an order to terminate the border cooperation agreement with Finland. Helsinki will be notified on the changes by the Russian foreign minister. Not sure what that means. I mean, terminate the border cross cooperation. I guess sort of helping each other cross the border, but yeah. Anyways, it's still pretty cool. So the Russians thinks that they can, still run around, do whatever they want, which they're gonna find out pretty soon. Ukraine is turning red right now. Yeah, I can hear air raids in the back as well. 86, welcome in. Kherson region and Ukrainian strikes from MLRS BM-21 Grad was recorded by a Russian soldier at the location of the 81st Regiment of the Russian Armed Forces, as a result of which the consequences are shown. Hit in a field, ammunition depot, a destroyed Tiger M armored vehicle, a combat modular, and a destroyed truck. So again, this is even more worse news for the Russians. This was uploaded by a Russian soldier. As you can see, he was making food. So he was probably a cook or whatever he is, standing behind making some food, doing whatever he's doing here. He appears to be cooking something. And then, of course, the Ukrainians, getting close to his position, or at least in the area, was firing at his position, destroyed ammunition, a Tiger, the Tiger M armored vehicle, and a truck. You get to see it all. Don't worry, there's no one dead in the video. Don't worry. You hear the Russians talking. There you go. Precision targeting from the Ukrainians there, but that's pretty gone right there. I don't know if you can see the problem with it, but it does appear to be pretty gone. What's left of the truck is pretty insane too. Freddy, welcome in. You can see let's see what's left of the truck as well. See what's left of the truck, right? He's gonna walk over to the truck eventually here. Yeah, that's what's left of the truck. That's the truck they were moving with. That's what's left of the truck. Pretty much nothing. I mean, it's flipped over. The whole thing is fucking mangled. It's a tree landed on it. Not sure the tree did much, but... Holy shit, dude. It's just... Dinner might be late. Alright, yeah. Fire took place. You see the ground is pretty much burnt. That's their camp. Artillery shells laying on the ground. That was from those shots right there. Yeah. So the Russians, without further ado, have had a pretty bad day today. Russian armor fell into an ambush prepared by the armed forces of Ukraine and Andivika. Attack where the enemy expects Shogi and the chamber of Putin. So I mentioned earlier, if you were here, that the video that we saw, some of the first videos that we saw of those of that line that was going like kind of back, you actually get to see when they made that line. So check this out. So here it is. Okay, and this, by the way, the first part of this video right here is pretty laggy. It's not my stream; it's the actual video. It's pretty bad, but it gets better further into the video. But you can see it comes up, right? And it comes up, and that's the line they start to make. All right. And it went right into an Ukrainian ambush. I think mines, all kinds of things were laying there. One of the things got out. That truck back there. And then, yeah, there you go. Now it starts to get better. That's cluster munitions firing on them. Look at that. They get completely hammered. And look what they do. Everybody just starts panicking, turning around. They just get fucked up all over. That's tanks right there getting shot to pieces. Yeah, he's explaining. Look at that. And then they start turning back. Oh. There's like, what, like fucking 10 of them came in. Or something like that. Probably like 10, 15 came in. 3 were left when they came out. Looks like. Some, like, 3, 5 of them were left. Like, it's actually, like, it was, it just definitely looks like the APVs that was destroyed. Infantry vehicles or something like that. Goddamn, it's fucking amazing. Germany delivers 3 more JPAT guns to Ukraine. Germany has transferred another self-propelled JPAT anti-aircraft gun, over 3,000 rounds of smoke ammunition and other military equipment to Ukraine as part of its latest aid package, the German government reported. We actually have that aid package, and I'm going to give it to that later. Germany has made a lot of strides lately, and we're going to talk about that. But Andivika is a nightmare. This is a Russian from a Russian Telegram right here, and he posted this right here. Andivika is a nightmare. It's difficult to convey in words what is happening in the Andivika direction, but there's a real horror there. A few days ago, there were the first large-scale attempts to take the Andivsky Trikon, but they were unsuccessful. Oh, sorry, I said Ukraine. I meant Ukrainian. It's a Ukrainian, right? Sorry. I don't know. Yeah. So I was Ukrainian talking about this. Alright, I don't know why. I thought it was Russian by there for a second, but I guess I was wrong. Yesterday was a new breakout attempt, and again, big losses. The general knew that Putin would come and decided to give him a gift. We have been fighting for Andivika since 14th. We tried to take the Trikon to cut off the supply, but Alice, the gift did not work out. There are a lot of deaths we can't even count. An officer working at the headquarters of the Russian armed forces in Russia told us. Oh no, so that's okay. So that one I think is Ukrainian, or might be Ukrainian on that one. I think maybe this is a Russian soldier. Could be a Russian soldier talking about this. Could be, but this right here is a Russian officer. So it's kind of like different kind of sources here. It could be a kind of like, because they're saying like it was unsuccessful. Kind of, I think maybe a Russian soldier. I'm not sure. So there wasn't a lot of context when I found this. What did you? Seen my first aircraft carrier? Oh, have you seen an aircraft carrier? I've always wanted to see an aircraft carrier. They're so majestic. According to the Internesk, the wounded and the dead are no longer admitted to hospital and mortgages. They're simply they're simply everywhere. I'm nowhere. Or so what he's saying is that they're not accounting for the dead anymore. They're not taking them back. They're not. And that was actually one thing that came out from Flash News. They were actually talking about a possible pandemic happening. The reason why we're talking about possible pandemic, I mean, we're talking about dead people create diseases, right? Rotting bodies, infections, all that kind of stuff. So it's not a good time for anybody, really. And what they're talking about here is the idea that, if they leave all these Russian soldiers just lying on the ground, it could create an epidemic. But that's for later, I think. I don't know. We stormed in vehicles, dozens of units, and there were few wounded left after the hit, says the source. Just primarily about 40 armored vehicles were lost yesterday. These all came out from Russian Telegram channels. Gotta be. I mean, it feels like they're the only ones using Telegram. Probably. The Swedish STRV-122 tank in the service with the armed forces of Ukraine lost for speed. So the Swedish STRV-122 tank is something I want to take a look at. It's an amazing tank. It's been a while. It's been around for quite a bit. It's fast. It's really fast. Looks a bit like a Gepard. Sorry, not a Gepard, a Leopard. But it's in many ways quite different. But it's fast. Look how fast that guy's driving, and look how fast that tank is going. It's really fast. I mean, it's Swedish as well. Sweden is not even in NATO, but it still has donated tanks, which is, Sweden needs to deserve that fucking NATO membership. They need to stop, they deserve that NATO membership. Okay, well, we have actually got a video here. I want to show you a video. And this is actually from the I think it's the, as of reading Swedish, because I'm Danish, it's got to be the army. I think it's the best way to translate it. Defense Maquette. Forsvarsmaquette. You get it. Here we have it. The world's greatest main battle tank. This is what they're saying here. This video was uploaded 13 years ago, by the way. The world's greatest main battle tank. Looks a little bit like the German Leopard, but it's fast. Look at that. Boom. That's in Ukraine, by the way.
The stability really isn't one ability.
Stability.
It's the combination of many abilities. Most of all, it's the firepower.
Whoosh.
It's the mobility. And our command and control system in the tank that makes it probably the world's greatest tank today.
Swedish, they got, yeah. Did the Germans copy their design of this, or did you copy it because they kind of look similar, but they are amazing. Both tanks are fucking. I mean, they're really good. Ooh, mama, you gotta shit your pants if you see this thing coming up towards you. Swedish Armed Force. Well, yeah, it's Swedish Armed Force. That's best, I'd say. Boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah, by the way, that one right there is something I want to talk a little bit about. That's it. Has this ability
I
to
think that Discovery probably is right. Well, they are right. It is the greatest tank ever.
It is the greatest tank ever. Yeah, you're damn right it is. So it's if the vehicle is detected, it can fire various grenades to either mask its against IR detection, launch IR decoys, or anti-personnel grenades against infantry. The Galax launchers are mounted as a single square block on the entire side of the turret. The STR-122 has an advanced combat control C2 system and a C4I capability. So you have more fun stuff. You also have the Gripen. The Gripen is a great fighter jet as well. So the STR-122 tanks, without a doubt, is one of the best tanks in Ukraine. In the world. Up there with the goddamn Challenger 2 and the Abrams. And it could do a lot of good stuff with the Ukrainians. It's in Ukraine. One of the things, of course, this war is it's a fast moving war in some ways. Therefore, having the speed, I think at the top speed of that thing, because it's very fast. 68 kilometers an hour, which is equivalent to 42 miles per hour. Kind of similar, I think, to the Leopard in some ways, but it's still, when you think about the capabilities of it, it can fire smoke grenades to cover itself, detect IR decoys or anti-personnel grenades against infantry. It has the cannon. I'm not sure about the millimeter, but it's stable. It can fire at high top speeds. It can do whatever the hell you need it to do. Great stuff. Well, let's move on. Just wanted to share that. Oleksandr Budko, 27 Ukrainian defenders embark on a tour across the United States together with the United Ukrainian Ballet Troupe. He gracefully performs on stage both with and without his assistance of his prosthetics limbs. What motivates me to keep going? People. When I hear that my example helps them, I understand that I'm doing everything right, he said. So it's a ballet concert, I think, going around the United States, around the world, actually, also. I think gathering money, probably, or something like that, in some ways. But anyways, he, I believe, is a Ukrainian serviceman who was in war, lost his legs. However, he is still moving around. He's a veteran, yeah. So look at that. He's got his prosthetics on, but he's still moving. Sits down, gets his prosthetics on. The resilience of the people. Performance wants to sell out. There you go. You see, he's got his prosthetics right there. And he's still going. Really a true symbol of heroism and, resilience. That's truly what the Ukrainians are. Really resilient people. And it's a way of him expressing his way of, well, who he is. I mean, he lost his leg and more and went on to do more and didn't stop. Some people might have stopped. They might have thought I couldn't do any more for Ukraine, but he's still going. He's still moving. So respect to that guy. It appears that an airplane crashed in Kremensk, Russia. According to the Russian news, local authorities have not found the wreckage yet. Yesterday, a Boeing 737 had to make an emergency landing in Novosibirsk due to losing engines. So yeah, more and more planes are actually falling out of the skies in Russia. We believe it's because the sanctions, they're working. They're slow, but they are working. As he points out here, sanctions are slow, but they are working. There's a video that came out. Now, we don't know if this is actually the Lycian that I showed you just some time ago. There was a picture I showed you. I don't know if that's it. However, it is falling out the sky. You can see, it's literally falling out the sky. Looks a bit like the time that a certain private jet fell out the sky, right? But sanctions are working. This is not the first time we've seen this. I mean, they continue to fall out of the sky because they simply don't have neither the quality anymore. I mean, the things that they used to repair the planes with, from most of it imported from the western side, it simply isn't being imported anymore. People that used to install those things, well, most of them are probably at war, been drafted. So, point here being, these planes, flying on a Russian plane is no longer safe. It literally is not. You'd be lucky if you actually flew on a Russian plane without it having any sort of problems. That would be a lucky flight for you, because we know right at this point, they're not doing too great. Reports from Russian sources of Ukrainian crossing from the Dnieper River earlier in this week has been partially confirmed in at least 2 locations. Ukraine has made crossing before to raid positions on Russian-held side of the river. We have had this. I've been talking about this. This is the area around Roima and I can't remember the other one. But here you have it again. They're launching across from the Kherson side into Russian-held territory. That right there is where they've launched in so far. It is causing the Russians to actually boggle down areas. So that's Poimas, we talked about before, and Pishkinvika, which we know they're pushing for now. Poima could have been, according to sources, could have been taken. It's kind of small village. So yeah. According to sources, the Ukrainians are fighting the Russians. Many sources. I mean, pretty much all the big sources, according to Deep State as well. They're fighting the Russians in Kherson. So the Russians aren't having a great time right now because they're pretty much being pushed back on all sides. Nowhere is safe in the Ukrainian front. Sorry, the Russian front line anymore. They're being pushed from all sides. It's great time. Sorry. All right, let's get it over here. A Ukrainian drone flies into a trench directly towards the Russian occupiers in the Crimea direction. Right here. Now, you know what's going to happen. However, we don't get to see it. We don't get to see... Oh, what? Sometimes Twitter is weird. I click on it, but it, shows up differently. Sometimes Twitter's weird. There we go. You don't get to see what happens. Don't worry. However, this is how the Ukrainians, so the educational purposes of this is to show how the Ukrainians are taking out Russian infantrymen sitting in trenches. I mean, they're not pushing them with guns anymore. This is future of warfare right here. You're sitting in your trench, you think you're safe, and then this happens right here, as you're about to see. You don't see the explosion because obviously the camera cuts off before it explodes, but there they are. That's the infantrymen there. You think you're safe from the occupiers, but no, you're not. Sorry, the Ukrainians, not the occupiers. Differently. He's gonna try and kick it. That doesn't work. So you think you're gonna be safe, but you're not. Those things can come out of nowhere. They can find you. They can spot you. Those drone operators, which are getting fucking precisionized, are sitting kilometers away. Well, maybe not kilometers, but at least some good miles. It's a good mile away, maybe. Taking you out, you know. Gotta eat. All right. See you later on. Germany has updated the list of military aid delivered to the armed forces of Ukraine. The Free Shepherd, which I mentioned before, 20 RQ-35 Heerdrun UAVs, 20 Vector UAVs, and 1 bridge-laying tank Biber, 3 HX-81, 3 semi-trailers, 14 border protection vehicles, and 3,872 DM-125 155mm artillery shells, smoke shells. They're smoke shells. I mentioned that earlier as well. One thing I found really interesting is the factor that the Germans are delivering bridge-laying tanker Biber. Bridge-laying tankers. Sorry, tanks, right? So, what that means, supposedly, is that Ukrainians are telling the Germans and the Western world that we need some stuff so that we can lay down bridges. Is that an indication that they're trying to push across and make bigger attempts across the Kherson and the Dnieper River? I think it is. I really genuinely think it is. Zaporizhzhia area, crossing across that, things like that. I think we're seeing the start of that at least. But supposedly, whatever their point is, they make a good time from it. They make a good time from it, and hopefully they can use those to do some damage. So let's show you the deteriorating state of the Russian army. Here you have a Russian elder soldier preparing to go back into battle against the Ukrainian army. This right here is a shaking older Russian male who appears to, I don't know if he's high or whatever he is, or if he's shell-shocked or whatever, or if he's simply old and then for staking. He's old. I mean, he's very, very old. That guy as well doesn't appear to be a young man either. So, in any ways, it's quite sad. I don't know if he signed up himself, but that's the conscription age that they're enlisting those guys. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but 70 I'd guess. Somewhere between 60 and 70. And you're not going to be conscripted, you know? And you're not to be conscripted. In World War II, they needed a lot of soldiers in World War II, but if you're above 40 in World War II, you wouldn't be conscripted. That was the English rule. You're not going to be conscripted when you're above the age of 40. The Russian army, you know, they're fighting a year into the war, and they're already conscripting men up to 70, sometimes 80. That's been reported. Also, down to the age of 17, 16. It's ridiculous. Biden requests a $105 billion package, including Ukraine-Israel fund. Biden has just requested a $105 billion package deal, so $105 billion package that is supposed to go to Ukraine and Israel. Split down that middle, hopefully. We can maybe see $50 billion going to Ukraine or more. But a lot of money going to Ukraine, that's a lot. That is a lot when you think about it. The Ukrainian armored vehicle SBA Navator, after being blown up by an anti-tank mine, the crew is alive. Now the car has been evacuated and is being repaired by specialists of the Ukrainian armored vehicles services, right? So, obviously, the Ukrainians also have damaged vehicles. However, you see that right there? That's what the Ukrainians are driving around in. It literally, I think, drove into a mine or whatever it did. But the crew inside of the car, despite the car being completely mangled by whatever was in front of it, survived, all of them, and it's now being prepared. I don't know how they're going to prepare it. I mean, they would probably have to switch out the whole front there because it looks pretty fucked up in the front there. The back looks alright. It's going to need some new tires. Probably ran into a mine or something. But yeah, that's the quality of the Ukrainian equipment. You tell you what, that was the Russian equipment right there. That'd be gone. It'd be gone. There's no other way to put it. The Nazian Gold collection, which has Cetian or something like that collection, which has been in the Netherlands since 2014, will return to Ukraine in the near future. It was stated by the temporary charge of Minister of Culture Rostislav Karintev. The ICIP, together with the partners from the Netherlands, is conducting a number of activities aimed at returning the collection of artifacts to Ukraine as soon as possible. That collection, the gold collection, I don't know what actually, I haven't actually seen that before, but apparently it is some kind of old Ukrainian, maybe some kind of Cossack kind of thing. These things right here, these kind of gold collections right here. Nah, it might be some kind of Cossack kind of gold system or some kind of gold something. But yeah, so returning to Ukraine because Ukraine's getting its independent and it wants its stuff. The Russia's losses near Avdiivka. Russian tanks and soldiers were destroyed on the outskirts of Avdiivka. Drone, cluster ammunition, everything is in the Russians. Yeah, it is. So here you have it. Look at this right here. This is how they take out the tanks right away. They're driving around with the caps open, obviously because, I mean, breathing in your air inside of this thing right here. But you have the caps open, right? That drone, because you're inside a tank that's on, if this tank is on, you can't hear shit outside, especially not a small drone. And then it leads to situations like this. Boom, that's a grenade right there inside of that tank. Boom, goes off. What happens then? You think, well, maybe it's not going to do much damage. Well, it is actually going to do a lot of damage because it's going to cook off the ammunition. And eventually, it's going to look like that. Well, that's not it. That's the artillery piece right there, probably. Well, that's the Russian tank right there. I mean, that's how they do it. I mean, they drop those grenades inside of it, right? And it literally gives them the ammunition to cook off. So the ammunition inside cooks off. So that grenade costs what? $60 fucking. It's gonna take out a whole fucking line of it's gonna take out a Russian tank. It costs $60, maybe less, maybe $100, something like that. Some kind of grenade. It's gonna take out a whole tank because it's gonna drop inside. It's gonna cook off the ammunition. You're talking $1 million for the Russians, maybe much more. $60 for the Ukrainians. You know, it's amazing. In the Battle of Avdiivka, Ukrainian soldiers firmly hold the defensive, inflicting numerous losses on the invaders. Russian losses yesterday, almost 900, and militias killed and wounded. Almost 50 tanks and more than 100 armored vehicles destroyed and damaged. So that was yesterday. Today, 55. So the Russians haven't had a couple few days here. I think it's the past few weeks here. There's been like close to 300 tanks. I'd say maybe more been destroyed throughout like the last week alone, which puts you into perspective of just how much damage the Russians have actually taken. 5,000 tank is a lot. You know, they have 8,000. The report is 8,000. They have 8,000 tanks of the T-90 plus Cold War tanks. They have a lot of tanks. However, 5,000 tanks for any army is a colossal damage. Something I don't think the Russians, with the current sanctions, are ever going to recover from. So, yeah. The A-50 surveillance aircraft is being observed over Crimea. So, the A-50 is one of the Russian surveillance aircrafts. We've seen it up before. Well, they look like this. I've seen it up before. They look like this. There was actually one of these some time ago that got destroyed in an airfield by some of the Ukrainians, but they've begun to fly one of these around the Crimea. That was reported by some pretty trustable sources, so I believe it. What this could be used for, it's a command center, right? So it's, but, you know, it's kind of like the E3. I mean, whatever they're using it for, probably detecting, you know, weapons or cluster, maybe, you know, the attackums coming up, they might want to do that, or whatever it is their intentions with it. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Actually, I have no more on it. That's all I've been told. So yeah, I was only told the fact that it may be flying around. I've got no other info on it. Here we got some HIMAR action. So the legendary HIMARS. I don't think that was firing off. I don't know. Was that firing off a... I think that's a regular missile right there, but look at that. That's a HIMARS firing off today as well. Maybe out today, I don't know what it was, but that gives you a good look at it. Look at that. Yeah. That's how they fire off those HIMARS. And those HIMARS are wreaking, you know, you think, what's the biggest enemy to the Russian army right now? It's the HIMARS. It appears that a plane crash in... Oh, sorry, I've already talked about this. Sorry. Energo Atom official, the water levels in the ZNPP cooling pond is stable despite the Russian occupiers blowing up the Kakhovka Dam, which you heard about. That was a long time ago. The situation remains stable and under control. As of 8 o'clock on October 20th, the water level in Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant is stable. I'll give you this right here, as we haven't had that on for a while. I will point out that the water has dropped significantly. Well, not significantly, but in some ways it has. Some months ago, it was 17. It's dropping at a sort of steady rate. It's at 15 now. However, I don't think it's a serious problem. It's dropping a bit around here, but I think they only sort of put enough in, and then they maybe increase the water flow later on. Dead point is 12.7. That's the dead point. That's where it can't. I mean and it's not at that, and it's preferably not going to be at that any time. So latest on that, I hadn't had that for a while, so I wanted to give you to it. So yeah, no panicking on that. However, I did find a tweet from Mask, and he's a pretty trustable source here, so we're going to read it out. He reported this on October 12th, that the Russian wanted to make an artificial overload of the system and controlled emission of radiation at the ZNPP that would have definitely led to real nuclear disaster. So Budanov, on October 12th, reported that the Russian actually wanted to melt down the ZNPP. So I'm just saying right here, I don't know if this is still on the cards. It could still be. That's why I'm reporting it right now, because I found it. However, of course, there's nothing as of right now that I can give you anymore. I just found that out there. It's not even live. I swear to God, this is not live. It has. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it's just way behind. Yeah. U.S., NATO, EU, and UN news. The incident with the Baltic Connector gas pipeline can be... so today some news came out, which I thought was pretty interesting here. So the incident with the Baltic Connector gas line can be considered an attack on NATO infrastructure. I actually mentioned that, and people asked me, some of you guys have asked me, can this be considered an attack? And I said, it is an attack on NATO infrastructure, which is now being confirmed. It is an attack on NATO infrastructure. Estonian Foreign Minister Magnus Magas Tashkana, I think that's right, has said, according to him, the gas pipeline which connects Finland and Estonia was damaged from outside. Recall on the night of September 8, Finland reported the shutdown of the Baltic gas pipeline because of the suspicion of a possible gas leak. The Finnish media wrote that Helsinki admits Russian involvement in the incident. So not only does Finland admit the involvement of the Russian government, but they also have now said that the gas pipeline could be considered a direct attack on NATO. Events will follow, and I believe the investigation is still ongoing into what exactly happened, or if it was the Russians in fact, though. However, I think all things point towards the Russian at the moment. Is anything going to happen? I can't tell you. All I know right now is that the Hungarian president, the Estonian foreign minister, not president, sorry, that was completely wrong. Estonian foreign minister has called it an attack on NATO infrastructure. So it's actually a pretty serious situation right now. We'll have to keep you updated on it, of course. Germany's interior minister calls for deporting Hamas supporters where possible. What the fuck does that mean? So what? So what? You're gonna give it out to the rest of Europe because you don't want them? Yeah. Well, man, then you got to send them back to Gaza or Palestine if that's what you want. Fair enough. I don't know. That's up to them. Well, keep an eye on that, of course. But I want to bring up another thing right here. Today in Denmark, I don't know if you heard, but you probably didn't. Extreme flooding has actually taken place, and impacts will not end at our shores. On Friday night, damaging gusts of wind and high seas will batter... Oh, ocean, welcome in. Will batter coast in the Netherlands, northwest Germany, and southwest Denmark. Some coastal floodings possible. And not only is it possible, it happened. The coastal flooding happened today. Many areas in Denmark and high winds took place in Denmark today. I can say that with surety because it happened in Denmark. I was actually feeling it myself. Very high winds, storm level winds. It was extreme. Well, you know, could be worse, right? But what are you doing? But there you go. Kind of like a typhoon moving in there. Really high winds coming in over Denmark, heading towards Sweden. 90 to 100 miles an hour towards in the middle of Esbjerg right there in the middle of Denmark. And you see the weather, the rain moving in over Denmark right there. I live here. You know, I live in the area around here. Yeah. This, of course, is moving up towards Sweden, so I also would provide caution in Sweden. More information may be available on Tuesday. NATO still will come to Stockholm. Well, I don't know why he'd be going to Sweden if it was a problem between Finland and Estonia. I think he's going to Stockholm to talk about Finland's NATO ship. So I think that's what he's doing. I'm not sure if maybe he's talking about the Baltic Connector. Could be. I'm not sure. But I we'll have to see, of course. I feel like he needs to go to Finland if it's a Finnish problem, Estonian-Finnish problem. He shouldn't be going to fucking Sweden. But yeah. Scholz blasts Putin's hypocrisis, calls remarks on civilian casualties cynical. I am more than outraged. It doesn't get more cynical than that. Germany Chancellor Olaf Scholz says. Yeah. So Scholz is mad at Putin because why not? It's Putin. Belgian Justice Minister resigns after deadly Brussels attack. There was an attack that occurred in Brussels here lately. A gunman, I believe, was the attack. Killed a couple. However, the Belgian Justice Minister resigns after a deadly Brussels attack. Not a great time. Sweden is to limit social benefits for non-European immigrants. So apparently, if you're not European and you move to a country in Europe and you're an immigrant in that country, you will not receive the same social benefits as your counterpart, the European immigrant. Which is that a kind of like a weird, is it? I don't know. Well, I mean, the communication line is something. I'm more focused on the goddamn gas line because the gas line is something else. By the way, Sweden's not even in NATO yet, so. But I mean, it is involved in the case that yes, the Baltic Connector could have been cut. I'm not aware of that. I think they're still investigating that. However, right now I'm focusing on the NATO problem that Estonia and Finland is in NATO, Sweden is not. Therefore, it's a NATO problem right now. But yeah, they are involved in a certain area. Certainly, they are. The United States will do everything to bring justice those involved in armed transfers between North Korea and Russia. That was stated by Matthew Miller, a representative of the U.S. State Department. Yonhap reports. According to him, the reason why Russia had to travel around the world in search of weapons lies in the sanction and exports control imposed by the United States. Sanctions, again, they are slow, but they are working. Don't get it wrong. The U.S. Commission of Inquiry finds additional evidence of Russian war crimes in Ukraine, including rape and deportation of children to Russia. This is stated by the the United Nations report. Victims reported being raped and at gunpoint and threat of death of other serious harm to the victims of their relative. The UN writes. Yeah. So it's a lot right now. There's a lot of things going on. Notably, the UN finally picked up on the idea that Russia has conducted war crimes. Finally they realized, oh, they actually did it. It's like, well, Russia. Okay, so I don't have any more news. However, I do have one last news here for you. I just went on Twitter and actually just saw this. The U.S. will reduce the amount of monthly budget aid to Ukraine from 1.1 billion to 825 million. The U.S. aid to Ukraine has officially just been cut. This is pretty outrageous, but we'll have to live with it. The UN, right? So, not have any more news on it, but I do have a flash update for you from today. So we're going to watch this, and we will be right back after.
Маю честь сьогодні бути тут, на Херсонщині, і привітати вас, шановні панове офіцери, з вашим професійним і дуже важливим святом.
проект постанови, реєстраційний номер 10000П, про висновки та пропозиції до проекту Закону України про Державний бюджет України на 2024 рік. Готові голосувати? Прошу народних депутатів голосувати. За 285 рішення прийнято.
Tonight, there are innocent people all over the world who hope because of us, who believe in a better life because of us, who are desperate not to be forgotten by us, and are waiting for us. But time is of the essence. I know we have our divisions at home. We have to get past them. We can't let petty, partisan, angry politics get in the way of our responsibilities as a great nation. We cannot and will not let terrorists like Hamas and tyrants like Putin win.
Have you ever seen anything more French than that? I fucking love it. I fucking stopped the road and flowed the fucking because they had cheap alcohol. Have you ever seen anything more fucking French than that? Just fucking. Oh my god, I love the French sometimes. I really, really do. The French are great sometimes. Love or hate them. I hate them sometimes. I love them sometimes. They're funny. They're weird. They're just very weird, you know. It's not like we don't. It's not like we don't like them. They're just a bit weird. Yeah. Take a minute and we must respond. All right. Well, not much more from me. I guess we'll check Flight Trainer out. Check it out. See what's happening. Yeah, I didn't manage to get a lot of news together today. Reportedly, I wasn't even going to go live today, but I felt like I needed to deliver some of that news to you guys. Oh, look at that. So that's the Lycian L, whatever that, 62M. Just outside of Israel right there, heading towards Egypt, it appears. That's a Russian plane. Used to transport of VIPs or emergency situations. So, yeah. Is it in some ways? Hello? So that's something. Minister for Emergency Situation just landed in Moscow. Oh, and guess where that took off from? That took off from Egypt. So 2 planes today alone. 1 plane already landed and was in Egypt. Now it took off and is no longer in Egypt. Look at that. Some kind of Russian Egypt thing coalition having on there. What is it? Don't ask me. Canada. Canada's flying over Greenland. South Sweden has problems. Yeah, I mean, I was expecting to see. We've had a lot of problems ourselves. About a lot of harpers are expected to be quite filled up with water. So that's it's quite a little bit of a serious situation, I'd say. Certainly want to keep your eyes out for any water damage. I escaped pretty thoroughly. We didn't have any damage here at home or in that area where I live. There was pretty much no rain, just a lot of wind. So we're fine for now. But yeah, it will probably pick up here eventually, and well, I don't know. Throughout the weekend, it's supposed to be maybe getting worse, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Well, that's it. Don't know much else. Let's see what we got going on Twitter. If there's anything interesting coming up. Oh, look at this. The aftermath of HIMARS strike on Russian base in, what was that? Savatov, Luhansk region. Good result. Look at this. That's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt. That gets completely mangled. Look at that. And a roof as well. This is their base. It's gone. No snow. No snow, Ocean. We're not gonna get snow before probably back a few months or something like that. Denmark is in Scandinavia, but we are one of the countries that gets the least amount of snow. I mean, yeah. It's the misconception, you know, like the Scandinavian countries get a lot of snow. We do get snow, but it's not always that much. Usually some winters some years we don't even get any fucking snow, you know. HIMARS ATACMS, yep. Vehicles look 100 years old. Yeah, but they look 100 years old. When they're destroyed, you know, the paint just kind of chips off of all the fire. Kind of, you know, burns it off. Ukrainian troops continue to conduct an offensive operation in Donetsk region. Because of this, the Russians are already preparing to withdraw from Horlivka-Bakhmut highway. This was stated by the head of the press service of the Eastern group of troops, Ila Yevlash. According to him, the situation near Bakhmut is difficult but under control. The armed forces are slowly but surely moving tens to hundreds of meters deep, recapturing the occupied territories. The enemy is on the defense. That's the funny thing about Ukraine war. The enemy has gone from being on the offensive to being on the defense, which is, you know, that's what you want. That's what you want. Well, I guess let's hop on Deep State here. Let's check what we got going. Not a lot of notable change around here. But, you know, I guess... Is this the area where I believe this is Poima, which I believe they're talking about being in. But At least we can see that they're pushed forward here. This is what they're saying, but they can't confirm it apparently. But I like to believe that they are. I mean, we know that they're there, but some, might saying that they are really there, or are they somewhere else? We don't know. By the way, these lines right here, you can actually see the rail network that we believe the Russians have built, or either are continuing to build. This is actually the rail networks working within the Russian occupied areas. Look at that. Hopefully the new ATACMS missiles, which will be supplied to Ukraine on a regular basis, can help make these rail lines a bit less raily and a bit more destroyed. All right, a little bit of movement up here towards the in the Zaporizhzhia direction here, heading down towards the what's that area? No, that's not. Yeah. Here's that attempt that was attempted by the Russians to make a bulk here. Pretty much just been pushed back by the Ukrainians. They're appearing to be close to be encircling the bulk right here. Battle of bulk right here. This is certainly the battle of bulk, but apparently these soldiers right here in the middle, I have very high doubts that they're going to stay there, because, not only do I believe that they may be undertrained, but because, well, the Russians, right? But the Ukrainians are either side. They're probably going to make a push for it very soon. I feel like that little bulk right there is probably going to be gone. I mean, you had that feeling right there. This is India. This is Andivika right here. It's the Russians that tried to move, and you can see the continued advance. I mean, what's that? 55 tanks, 120 APVs. Close to 10,000 soldiers to do this, to do that. You actually have to zoom in to actually see what they've done. That's the Russian advance. 10,000 soldiers, maybe more. About 300 tanks, more than 1,000 APVs probably. Getting close to that. 1,000 trucks, guns, ammunition, millions of rounds. to move was equivalent to about 100 meters. I mean, it's just embarrassing. It's you can't even see it. You go out, you can't see the notable change, can you? You can't even see. Well, you can kind of see it. You go out, you can't see the fucking notable change. Nothing. It's great stuff. Good stuff. The Andivika direction is holding. I love it. Yeah. I mean, listen. The winter is going to be very tough for the Russians. I mean, they have no proper equipment. They have pretty much nothing that can help them survive the winter. If you thought their wounds or the infections were bad now, it's going to get even worse throughout the winter. Fever, it's going to kill most of them, probably. I mean, and if they have nothing, if they have nothing, absolutely nothing, if they have absolutely nothing, winter clothes wise, boots, frostbite, Ukrainian winters, which used to be the Siberian winters. And when the wind comes in from Siberia, having frostbite, that's a real thing. But the Russians, if they have barely means of proper boots, they're going to get frostbite. That's their feet falling off. The Ukrainians, they have proper boots. They have proper everything. They're going to survive, right? The Russians, living in their shitty conditions, they're not going to survive. What's going to make them survive? What exactly is gonna make them survive the winter that is coming towards them. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Vodka. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing. Oh, look at that. This video shows the German-British training of Ukrainian soldiers on the M3 amphibious bridge vehicles. Training of the Ukrainian soldiers have been ongoing since at least February 2023, while no M3 has yet been officially delivered to Ukraine, according to the Ornik's information. Public known as yet are just 6 pledged M3 amphibious bridge vehicles, which will be delivered by the Netherlands, as well as I translated everything for English. Well, thank you very much to that. Look at this video here, guys. I think this is a pretty great video. Oh, sorry. That's not what I meant to do.
Wir bilden hier ukrainische Soldaten auf der Amphibie M3 aus. In der Zeit, in der die ukrainischen Soldaten hier sind, bringen wir ihnen bei, die Amphibie an Land und auf dem Wasser zu bedienen, sodass sie am Ende befähigt sind, insbesondere Gefechtsfahrzeuge im Fährbetrieb oder über Brücken, über breite Gewässer überzusetzen. Die Motivation innerhalb der Ausbildungsgruppe ist sehr hoch, sodass wir das gesteckte Ausbildungsziel auf alle Fälle erreichen werden.
Ну, я хочу подякувати німецьким та британським інструкторам. Вони чудові вчителі і навчили практично всьому тому, чому, ну, все, що вони вміють. А можливості в цих машин...
Pretty much when you have ferries, right? You ferry a vehicle across a bridge, or vehicle across a river. It's pretty much it.
Вони можуть плавати як паромом по 2 машини, так і робити мости через річку і пропускати. Дуже велика спроможність пропускна моста. Ну, на сьогоднішній день у нас питання по форсуванню Дніпра, і, скоріше всього, важка техніка буде перекидатися саме цими машинами. З вашою допомогою Україна переможе. Слава Україні!
That's what the Ukrainians are working with, and German instructors, you know, as well. They're wonderful people. They probably know what they're doing, you know, but that's, you know, fucking great. Oh. That's probably great. It's really, 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 I mean, that's awesome, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Hopefully that goes to Ukraine. I mean, that's definitely going to make the Dnipro push better. Carries more than you thought. Well, yeah. I mean, they're those were 2 big trucks right there, loaded with what I believe were some kind of bridge equipment or something. But they were there was a lot of that. So yeah, I mean, they carry a lot. Which they could probably carry a tank if they wanted to. When you think about it, I think they could carry a tank. You know, and they're fast too, with what it appears to be. So they're like back and forward. You can carry those tanks across when you got time for it. Easy troop movement. You know, the Russians, they barely got anything to move tanks across rivers. You know, that's something they don't have. Pretty much, I mean.
The resolutions called for...
Biden supplement spending request to Congress will include 60 billion. Okay, so 60 billion for Ukraine and 40 billion for Israel. Source tells Routes. $60 billion could be going to Ukraine pretty soon, which is wow. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, we got more videos. This is the, so this is the tank we showed earlier, the STVR 122 Swedish tank here. Now they're saying it's the Swedish version of the Leopard tank. I don't know. Is it? Is it? I don't know. It seems better, but we got a video here. Let's watch it.
Немов дикий звір у посадці причаївся танк «Леопард-2».
Як хижаки, ховаємося, ждемо, вискочили, працювали і дійшли опять.
Командир цієї бойової машини – Віталій, некадровий військовий. Майже 30 років він відпрацював шахтарем.
Вже був на заслуженому як-то відпочинку, але раз держава був потрібен державі, призвали.
Віталій зізнається, відчуває велику відповідальність, адже йому довірили західну бронетехніку.
Я впевнений, що багато хто трошки там десь білою завистю трошки на нас дивиться, хто працює на других машинах.
Віталій служить із початку року, але поїздити на українських чи радянських танках не встиг. Одразу поїхав до Швеції якнайшвидше вчитися воювати на леопардах. Каже, темпи навчання українських танкістів здивували навіть шведських інструкторів.
Але як потім вони самі призналися, що ми за 9 тижнів ми опанували програму, яку їхні контрактники опановують за 1,5 року. Те, що ми, навчання були по 12 годин. Спочатку важкувато, потім тягнулися.
Ця бойова машина – шведська версія німецького «Леопарда». Її було випущено у середині 90-х, але українським танкістам вона дісталася, можна сказати, в ідеальному стані.
Там, де ми були, у них полігон розмірами 2-3 максимум кілометри. Вони там день поїздили і потім тиждень її обслуговують. А в нас за один бойовий вихід десь до 100 кілометрів ми пробіг машини.
На своєму «Леопарді» Віталій воює з середини літа. Щоправда, поки без прямих танкових боїв. Каже, за такої активності безпілотників і артилерії, як тут, на Лиманському напрямку, це занадто ризиковано. Посилена броня спереду і можливість їхати заднім ходом зі швидкістю 30 км на годину дозволяє «Леопардам» не розвертатися на бою. До того ж, боєкомплект у них розташований позаду. З одного боку вразливе місце, а з іншого – безпека екіпажу. В російських танках снаряди розміщені під екіпажем.
Особливо лоб дебелий. Протитанкову міну теж вона витримує. Головне – це живучість екіпажу. Яке б там не було у нас озброєння, екіпаж – екіпаж.
Оце ця двері, що я вам казав, за що неї спасається екіпаж. Якщо зірветься, не дай Боже, то сработає назад і викине весь заряд. Екіпаж лишиться живий.
Володимир – зарядник. Той самий 4-й член екіпажу, якому є що розповісти про вогневу міць. Каже, цей танк, якщо постаратися, може вразити навіть повітряну ціль.
Буде йти вертольот, він її візьме.
Hey Freddie, you should be proud of this. This is from your country.
Він її зіб'є.
Swedish equipment, that's one of the best things in the goddamn world, I'll tell you what. As of what I've seen, the Swedish equipment is next level.
Нас добре вчили. Оце такий бронебійний снаряд. Снаряд дуже сильний. В ньому стріла 70 сантиметрів, скільки ж само він 70 сантиметрів пробиває броні. Він вольфрамовий, робить дуже велике диво. Коротше, горить, пробиває все. Можна стріляти через дома, можна стріляти через дерева. Коротше, він не міняє траєкторію. Дуже вдачно.
Але що одразу впадає в око, коли залазиш всередину, це місткість танка. Кожен член екіпажу має навіть свою скриньку для особистої зброї.
Можна в ньому і ложитися спати, екіпаж лягає свободно, усередину. Заряджаючий внизу, командир тут, наводчик перед вами і водитель на своєму місці.
Бійці кажуть, що ця бронетехніка дає відчутну перевагу в бою. Дякують за неї західним країнам і визнають, якби не ця допомога, результат міг би бути геть іншим.
Як би сказати, дуже великий страх. Цього танка, можна сказати, і побаюється.
Олексій Продаєв, Микола Рищенко та Олексій Палій. Радіо Свобода.
Yeah, so that's the STVR 122 tank from the Swedish Army. Sweden, not even in NATO yet. However, if any country deserves to be in NATO, it's Sweden. You know, every single way possible, Sweden deserves to be in NATO. Every single way. And therefore, we are happy about that. But yeah, I don't have any more for you. A little bit of a short stream here, I know, but I'll be back with some more tomorrow. I wasn't really supposed to go live today. It's kind of my day off, but I feel like I owed it to you when we had, such a great day for the Ukrainians. Bottom line, the Ukrainians are holding. The Russians are losing at a rapid pace, at least the equipment, and the Ukrainians are holding at every area that they can. So have a good night, have a good day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for stopping by, liking and everything. Our only enemy. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And let's hope Sweden gets into NATO one day. Hopefully they get into NATO. They deserve it. They 100% do. No questions asked. They 100% deserve it. Militarily, I feel like all this shit about the factor that they burned the Quran and now they can't get in because of Turkey and all that bullshit. Militarily and pretty much in society way, they really, really deserve it. They are free, democratic, very, very rich country. So, yeah. But anyways, have a good time, have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.